Hey guys, good morning. It's a Sunday morning. I'm not doing a chin music article today, but I did want to just really quickly walk you through how I go about looking at a slate and kind of looking at where I may want to target pitchers. So, Roto Grinders right now, to me, of the free sites, is absolutely where you go. So this is obviously a free promo for Roto Grinders. Hope they don't get too upset at me. But I go to that first look article. You need to be a member here, which only means you need to give them your email address and set up a password. It's still free. But I'm going to look at this first look article and I'm going to scroll down and take a peek at the schedule here, look at who's pitching against who, the basic Vegas lines, the run totals, and of course the times. And all I'm really looking for here is guys that are in a good matchup. According to Vegas, these big lines usually stand out to me. When I pick a couple that I like, you might want to look at some of these numbers down here. Like Jordan Ventura, excuse my French, is in a decent spot, good line, but he's got a pretty high total. I want to stay away from that. I want to stay away from Matt Latos. These guys don't have elite strikeout stuff. I want to get more into the DeGroms and Strasburgs, of course, and the lower totals. But when I scroll down a little bit, I can sort by the line, I can sort by their K percentage, which is what I want to do next. And I'm starting to look for high K percentages matched up against high opponent K percentages, because that means the other team strikes out a lot, my pitcher strikes people out a lot. And again, I'm looking for how this correlates with the Vegas lines. Jason Hamill starts to pop out at me. I know he's in a hitter's ballpark, but he's got decent strikeout stuff, and I know that Cincinnati strikes out a little bit more than this number, maybe last season's numbers. But even coming down here, if you want some cheaper pitchers, yes, Duffy's a huge underdog in this game, but Robbie Ray might be a real sneaky little pick at 6,700. I'm not saying that you should match up, with him and draft him as your pitcher, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because again, one thing that you can tell between the two websites, FanDuel and DraftKings, is the pricing discrepancy. DraftKings is a lot sharper in their pricing now. They take a lot more of the matchup into consideration. So as another checkbox, let's start walking down here and looking for some price gaps that we can find. And we don't have to scroll down too far before we start to see Eichhoff. There's a nice little difference. Look at this one between Pineda. I'm going to take a look into him. He's a favorite, slight favorite, decent strikeout stuff, facing a strikeout team. Guess where I might be looking first right now? 7,700 is a huge bargain. I'm not using him on DraftKings, but I might use him on FanDuel. And then I scan down a little bit more. Look at the difference here. 6,700 versus 8,200. I might look into that, but look at the difference in Shoemaker here. He's a lot more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. So if I needed a second pitcher on DraftKings, I might be looking right here. Scroll down a little more. Hutchinson, there's a big price gap there. Look at the difference here, Henry Owens. If I'm going to use him, I'm using him on FanDuel. I'm not recommending you do so. He's a big underdog. He doesn't have elite strikeout stuff, and he's not facing a heavy strikeout team. But you can see what I'm doing here. As I'm looking through these numbers, I'm focused first on the Vegas line to tell me where to go. Then I'm looking for how often my pitcher strikes other people out, and then I'm looking at how often the other team strikes out, and then I'm looking for a price gap. And when all of these factors line up, like on a Pineda, I might draft him. I want to look for teams to stack, sort down here by team total, and start looking for the projected totals. These three teams are projected to score over 5 runs. And of course, when they match up against somebody else, here's the Coors Field matchup, you're going to get a team total of 10 or 11 runs there. So it's a stackable game. That's why everybody stacks that game. But there are a lot of other games on this slate to choose from today. And if I was you, I would contemplate getting off the herd here in tournaments, maybe sticking around the top of the board here in cash, which is why you always find me recommending the obvious plays. But guys, that's just basically how I do it. Pitchers to target are the bad ones. You can scroll down here. You can scroll down here and look for the red numbers with bad strikeout numbers, big underdogs, and you can start attacking these cheap guys at the bottom of the list. Wiley Peralta. You might think about putting some Phillies out there. They've done well in Miller Park so far by putting up some home runs. Maikel Franco's obviously hot. So these are just little indicators, and then you have to dive a little deeper into the numbers, and maybe we'll do that another time. But this is just a quick 5-minute overview of how to carve up a slate in very, very little time. So, roster your boys up, stack some of those hitters, and have a good day.